Hey guys, Raider here. Hope you're all doing great and having a fantastic day. If I sound a little excited right now, it's because I am. Today we are unboxing the Samsung Galaxy Book2 Pro 360. This being the successor to last year's model, the Galaxy Book Pro 360, which has been my daily driver for the last few months. And this has been an excellent laptop. I've really enjoyed it so far. So I'm not sure if this is a final packaging or not, but last year we got a box that looked like this. Let's see what we get inside this one. So what we're gonna do, guys, is we're gonna do the unboxing. I'm gonna do a first impressions. Then we're gonna talk about why you should consider getting a Samsung laptop over all the other options that are out there. In addition to that, we're also gonna do a side-by-side comparison between the new Galaxy Book2 Pro 360 and last year's model to see if Samsung has addressed many of the complaints that we've all had, such as screen wobble, brightness, audio, flex deck. We're gonna test all that stuff out in this video. This is gonna be a long one, guys. Go ahead and grab some popcorn, grab your beverage of choice. And without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the unboxing. All right, looks like we just got the one thing here to rip open. Hey, there we go. That's what I was expecting. More like it. We've got the actual box. So let's do away with this outer packaging. All right, so now we've got the final box. We see we have the Galaxy Book2 Pro 360. Thanks a lot, Samsung, for putting Book 2 as one word. Me, as a YouTube content creator, I have no idea as to list this as Book with a space 2 or just put it as Book 2. All right, nonetheless, I digress. Let's go ahead and get this unboxed. All right, some cellophane wrapper. Get that off to the side. Boy, this thing is just trolling me. Here we go, here we go. All right, let's get the top out of the way. All right, right here, we have a 65 watt charging brick. This is great because you can use this on all your devices. It's USB-C. Let's set that off to the side. Here we have the unit itself. I opted for the maxed out version, the 15.6 inch. This is an i7. I opted for the graphite edition to match my Tab S8 Ultra, and this is the maxed out version, which is 16 gigabytes of RAM, 1 terabyte of storage. We're gonna go over all the specs in just a second. All right, let's set that off to the side just for a moment, see what else we get in the box. We have our USB-C to USB-C charging cable. This is also a data cable. We have some books and all that usual stuff. And we have our beloved S Pen. The S Pen returns again. Looks exactly the same as last year's. Feels exactly the same. No complaints with that. I'm happy to see that. Let's go ahead and get the packaging out of the way so we can take a look at this. All right, guys, let's get this out of the protective sleeve that it comes in. Oh, let's see what she looks like. Oh, wow, look at that. Look at that. Okay. I'm liking that already. Let's crack this open real quick. There we go. So before we get into it, let me go over the specs real quick with you guys. So this is going to be released on April 1st. You can still pre-order. We'll be talking about the pre-order deals a little bit later because it's something you want to definitely pay attention to. All of these come with Windows 11 Home, Intel 12th Gen Alder Lake processors. We have i5 and i7 offerings. The 12th Gen features hybrid tech, which means we have a combination of performance and efficiency cores. The model featured here is an i7 1260p with a 2.1 gigahertz base clock speed and a 4.6 gigahertz burst. We have onboard Intel Iris Xe graphics. The display, not much has changed from last year's. We have a 1920 by 1080p Full HD 60 Hz display. This is Super AMOLED with touch input with the digitizer layer for the S Pen. Samsung is claiming that we're getting a 33% brighter screen. We are going to touch base on the Full HD screen. Full HD in 2022 on a 15.6 inch screen is definitely something that needs to be talked about. So we're going to get into that a little bit later. We have 8 and 16 gigabyte RAM options, no 32 gigabytes. That's what we were kind of told a couple months ago, but it looks like that option's not available, at least not at launch. Wi-Fi 6E, a claimed battery rating of 21 hours. You can expect to get about half that. We have 3 different color options this year: burgundy, graphite, and silver. We have a TPM fingerprint scanner. We have a 65 watt power adapter that we just saw in the unboxing there. This is a 2-in-1 machine. It can flip around into tent mode, and you can use it much like you would a tablet. This features a new software integration called One UI Book 4. We're going to touch base on that during the full review because I have no idea what that really entails yet. We also have Samsung ecosystem features such as Samsung Notes, Quick Share, Link Share, and all the other things you would expect from a Samsung device. Now let's talk briefly about the differences between the 13 and 15-inch models that are offered. The 13-inch is a 13.3 inch coming at 33.8 centimeters, 166 ppi, 2.31 pounds, 1.04 kilograms, a very minimal 0.45 inches thick. That's right, guys. The thickness is less than a half inch on the 13 as well as the 15-inch models. The speakers are AKG, 4 watts by 2. And the base price for the 13-inch comes in at $1,249 here in the US. For the 15-inch model, we have a 15.6-inch diagonal, 39.6 centimeters, with a 141 ppi pixel density, coming in at a very lightweight 3.1 pounds. How ridiculous, man. 1.4 kilograms. This model here is 0.47 of an inch thick, less than half an inch thick, 1.1 centimeters. And we do have an upgrade apparently. So last year's model featured 2 1.5 watt AKG speakers, and this year we are getting 2 5 watt AKG speakers. We'll test that out. We'll see what it's like. And lastly, guys, this is up for pre-order for 2 more days. And here's the deal, guys, before we get into looking at this, in all seriousness, if you guys are considering this machine, now is the time to do it. Like within the next 2 days before April 1st, or else you're gonna have to wait till most likely probably Black Friday. That's most likely going to be the next time you're going to be able to get it at the same price that you're able to get it for in pre-order now. I did a video earlier on the channel about how to get the best pre-order offering that you can possibly get for this machine. So I'll link it down in the description. Please check that out because you'll be able to get this machine for closer to $1,000 instead of the $1,549 asking price for the maxed out version here by doing a watch trade-in, and you also get a 32-inch monitor that you can easily sell. So I mean, this is the way it works in the Samsung ecosystem. This is how I get by with never paying full price. I've never paid full price for a Samsung product. I'm talking going all the way back to the S3 and the Note 3 from these early days. You don't pay full price for Samsung products, especially once you're in the ecosystem. You just have so many opportunities during their trade-ins every year to get the latest model for very low cost. So it looks like we don't have any charge here, and that's pretty typical on these when they ship them out. So I'm going to go ahead and give this a little bit of juice, then we'll get it powered on and do our first impressions. And then I'm going to bring in last year's model. We're going to put these side by side next to each other, and we're going to do some comparisons to see if this is really worth the upgrade for you guys that are looking for the upgrade, and or if this is a model to get at full price compared to what you can get last year's model for, considering you can get that substantially cheaper. All right, guys, so it looks like this shipped without any power. So let me get this charged up a little bit, and then we will go ahead and get this powered on, do a first impressions, and then I'm going to bring in last year's model so we can do some side-by-side comparisons. All right, guys, I'll be back in just a bit. All right, guys, I'm back. I've got it all set up. Well, basically set up, you know, the basics are done on it. I played around with it for about 20 minutes or so. Didn't want to do too much with it yet because I want this to be like a true first impressions. I can tell you so far right off the bat, I'm pretty impressed. You know, the screen is definitely a little brighter. The audio is very much improved. We're going to test that out in a little bit. And there's a couple other upgrades that I think you guys are really going to like. So let's get into those, and then we're going to talk about why you might want to consider a Samsung laptop over other options that are out there. So there's a few things I want to touch base on, and that's going to be the brightness, the audio, the flex, and the deck. So this is last year's model here to the left. Here's the new Galaxy Book2 Pro 360 over here to the right. So we'll be testing the deck flex, meaning accidental clicks that happen. It's been a common complaint for last year's model. We'll also check out the webcam. We'll do a quick typing test on the keyboard and see how the trackpad is. And we're also going to test the screen wobble. That was another common complaint, how much a screen wobbled between both devices. So let's go ahead and check on the screen brightness first. So again, this is last year's model, and this is this year's model. All right, guys, so to test the brightness, I went ahead and set both of them to a light theme so we can go ahead and see what a white background looks on both, because that's going to portray the brightness difference more than anything to you guys, at least here in a video. So let's open up the File Explorer on the original Galaxy Book Pro 360. That's what your whites look like, all right? We'll go ahead and switch over to the new Galaxy Book2 Pro 360. Yeah, it's definitely quite a bit whiter. I don't know if that difference is showing up in camera. It is significantly brighter. All right, whether or not it's 33% brighter, I don't know, but the difference is definitely noticeable, especially here in person. It is definitely brighter. So now we're going to test the audio. So what I did is I loaded up a video from my other channel. I do some FPV freestyle drone stuff, and I do my own background tracks so I can play some actual music for you guys without getting a copyright strike. So let's go ahead and test the audio. Let's make sure it's maxed out here. We're at max volume on the original Galaxy Book Pro from last year. We go ahead and put the mic right in the middle of them as well. We'll kind of move it around a little bit. It's full volume, guys, max volume. Let me make sure it's max volume on the YouTube video itself as well. No, it's not. Here we go. Hold on. All right, guys. Now we're going to do the same on the new Galaxy Book2 Pro 360. This time I'll check the volume level first. We're maxed out. And we will check the volume here. We are maxed out. Here we go. Let's switch back. And back. A little bit of a difference. You know, it's a little bit better. I don't think it's as much of a big deal as they're making it out to be, but it does sound better. It sounds a little bit fuller. All right, guys, so the next thing I want to check for you guys is the amount of flex that we have in the chassis. Okay, so last year's model, a lot of people complained that when they set it in their laps, you would get a lot of accidental mouse clicks because there would be enough flex in here for you to actually register an accidental click if you put enough pressure on it. Let me show you what I mean by that. Let's grab last year's model, all right? Don't worry about the screen or anything. Just pay attention to what I'm doing with my hands here. All right, so what I'm gonna do is mimic a lot of force being pushed down by just doing some upward pressure with my thumbs. I want you to listen carefully. Do you hear that? Let me get closer to it. You might hear the rubbing of my desk too. Sorry about that. Let me pick it up in the air. Do you guys hear that? I can very easily get this trackpad to activate just by barely pressing. Not barely, I'm using a little bit of force, but not that much force underneath it. And that kind of mimics what it's gonna happen when it's sitting in between your legs. Let's go ahead and check out the new model. So we're gonna grab this year's Galaxy Book Pro 362. Don't worry about the screen and all that. Let's put that up to us. Here we go. I am pushing with the same amount of force, guys, I promise. No BS here. Not a single click. They fixed it. Good job, Samsung. All right, good deal. So the deck flex issue for the accidental clicks is now a thing of the past. Oh, you can really see the brightness difference here. Look at the taskbar. It's definitely a lot brighter on the newer one. I don't know how much that's gonna show up. Do you see the brightness difference now between the taskbars here? It's definitely quite a bit brighter on this one than this one. All right, I'm gonna zoom back out. All right, guys, so the next thing I wanna test out is the screen wobble. And what I mean by that is another common complaint is that when folks are using the original one, the screen would wobble a lot. You see that, how it just flipped all the way back like that? It doesn't take much to get the screen to like wiggle, you know? And here, let me do some more of this. I'll just touch it and you guys can see. See how much that's moving? Okay. So that's a screen wobble I'm talking about. Let's go ahead and try that with the new one. Let's see if there's any difference. It feels a little stiffer. We still got some wobble though. It's kind of to be expected on a screen this thin. I will say though, the actual hinge itself, yeah, no, the hinge is definitely a little bit stiffer on this newer one. So let's see if we can pick this up and get it to go down. Yeah, it still can, but it is a lot tighter. So a little bit of an improvement in that area. There's still some wobble. It still might tick a few of you guys off. It's not as bad. I don't know if it's coming through in the video, but you know, it kind of settles down a little quicker. It is a little stiffer too. So a little bit of improvement there. Like here, I've got this much freedom, and here it's like this. So it's a little less movement in that area. So let's check the keyboard. I've always loved the keyboard on the original one, and I love it on this one too. They feel about the same, guys. There's no difference here, really. The trackpad, the keyboard, they both feel the same. The next thing of concern is the webcam. So let's go ahead and test that out. All right, so here we have the original Galaxy Book Pro. Little lapel that's coming through. All right. Now we'll grab the new Galaxy Book2 Pro. All right. Yeah, the camera looks quite a bit better. So it seems like they made quite a few little upgrades this year that all add up to a much nicer machine than the previous generation. Before we wrap up the video, guys, I do want to talk briefly about why you'd want to pick a Samsung laptop over the many other options out there. I mean, we've got the Lenovo ThinkPad and ThinkBooks. We've got the HP Spectre X360 line and so many other great 2-in-1 options. Here's the main reasons. First off, the S Pen. There is no better pen experience in the business than the mighty S Pen. And I can tell you, as a content creator, I have really grown accustomed to relying and counting on this S Pen, and it has yet to let me down. It is a very smooth writing experience. It is great to write on the screen on the 360. It has been on the original one. I'm sure it's going to be great here. We'll dive into it more in the full review when we get to that. I'm telling you guys, for someone that likes to streamline their workflow, and to be able to go between all their devices, you know, my Tab S8 Ultra to the Fold 3, back to this one, it's a seamless integration with S Notes, and I really do appreciate that. The other thing that's great is a Samsung ecosystem. You know, you're able to transfer your files quickly between all your devices with Link Share and Quick Share. You can receive and make phone calls and get your text messages and all your notifications. You can control your tablet or phone with Samsung Flow. And the other great benefit too is that unlike other laptop manufacturers, you can count on there being great trade-in and upgrade incentives every single year. Case in point, this machine goes for $1,549 retail. So the pre-order gifts that they're offering right now is that they're giving you a $320-something lap monitor for free that you can easily just put on OfferUp, Facebook Marketplace, something like that for a couple $100. So you can recoup a couple hundred of your dollars right there. And they're also doing some fantastic trade-in deals. So like you can grab a Gear S3 watch off Amazon for about $100 and they'll give you $350 for it. That's a $250 swing in your favor. That brings this machine down to $1,000. And the price point leads me to what I was talking about earlier, and that's a 1080p Full HD display. Me personally, I would never spend $1,549 on a laptop that has a 1080p 15.6-inch screen in 2022. I just wouldn't do it. And if I were you guys, I wouldn't consider it either. I mean, because Samsung really needs to step it up on the displays on these laptops. They really do. Because you can pay the same price and get an HP Spectre or another equivalently equipped laptop, and you're going to have a 4K option. You might pay a little bit more for it, but not much. And we're not getting that here. But what we do get here are those trade-in incentives, those pre-order bonuses that bring this down to the $1,000 price point. And at $1,000 for this maxed out version, I can absolutely recommend it with a full HD screen for that price. So be smart about it. Take advantage of the pre-order deals. You got 2 more days left, guys, where you can save roughly $400 to $500. And also keep in mind, if you have last year's model, you'll be able to sell that easily for $700 to $800 to where you're only really spending $200 to $300 to upgrade to this year's model. In which case, I think it's totally worth it. So just keep in mind, guys, I'm not a fan of 1080p on 15.6-inch screens, just like most of you aren't as well. Although I will say this. The screen is beautiful. It's a nice 1080p. And if you want to get a more detailed look at how this screen compares with other screens like a 4K TVs that I have in my house and my 1440p gaming monitor, please check out the first video that I ever dropped on this channel. It is a full review of the original Galaxy Book Pro 360, and I do a whole bunch of shots in there where we take a macro lens and get up close to this screen and compare it to 4K TVs and whatnot, and you'll find that the screen actually does hold up very well. But still, that is not a get out of jail card for free for Samsung. Not at all. Next year, they need to improve it. If next year we don't see an increase in it, I probably won't be making the upgrade. And next year, in 2023, if Samsung only offers this in Full HD, I'll tell you right now, guys, even though I have this channel and I mainly focus on Samsung products, I'll skip the upgrade. I'll skip next year's just to put it in their face. Like, you know, it's just not acceptable, especially going into 2023. Come on, that's going to be ridiculous. And even here in 2022, I have a real hard time swallowing the Full HD pill here. You know, it's a tough pill to swallow. I will say the display does look great, but it could look so much better if they just give us a higher resolution option. Samsung, get it together. Next year we want higher resolution displays. This is your flagship product. This isn't a mid-tier laptop. Give us higher resolutions. All right, guys, there's going to be a lot of videos about this coming up. We'll do a detailed comparison between this one and last year's model. I'm also going to do a comparison between the Tab S8 Ultra, and we'll show how second screen works with this. And I also want to get into the One UI Book 4 a lot more. I have no idea what that entails. I've got to get in and dig around and play with it. But there's a lot of exciting stuff to still touch base on this machine. This is just the unboxing, first impressions. So far, you know, I'm impressed. I'm not overwhelmed. You know, I'm not blown away. The screen brightness is a little bit brighter. The audio is a little bit better. You know, they're all little increases that make a big difference. I think the biggest upgrade, honestly, is we don't have the deck flex anymore. I think that's going to make a lot of you guys really, really happy, because I know that was one of the big pet peeves with a lot of people, especially on the 15-inch model. All right, guys, I'm dragging this on too much. Let's wrap this up. As always, guys, thanks for watching.